Okay, so we're outside 29 Gowan Avenue, Fulham, West London. This is where Jill Dando was murdered. So the red line represents where the killer was seen running away at 11:30. At 11:35, a man was seen running up and down Fulham Palace Road. He's represented by the yellow line. This man was also seen in Bishop's Park, and this man was also seen at a bus stop. This is the man whose face was used in the reconstruction. Yes, but this man was actually identified and arrested 4 weeks after Jill Dando's murder, but yet people still use him in reference to this case.
What we found is 4 witnesses who see a man or different men running down the Fulham Palace Road towards Putney. And the first witness is somebody who had been to the betting shop. About 11:37, 11:38, he saw a man running across the Fulham Palace Road from the Gowan Avenue side, and a car nearly knocked him down. And the man saw him run to the west side of Fulham Palace Road and start to run down Fulham Palace Road. Another lady saw a man running down the Bishop's Park side of Fulham Palace Road, carrying a mobile phone and talking into the mobile phone, and she found that very odd. Is that the same man who had just run over the pedestrian crossing? Further down the Fulham Palace Road, a few minutes later, a lady is driving a truck north and sees a man she describes running for all his life, wearing a suit, dark hair, south towards Putney. He was carrying a mobile phone. At roughly the same time, a van driver is going towards Putney in the Fulham Palace Road, and a man ran out in front of him, and the van driver had to brake heavily to avoid hitting him.
Stupid idiot!
That witness saw the man run across the Fulham Palace Road and into Bishop's Park.
And finally, there is a crucial witness at the bus stop in the Fulham Palace Road, opposite Bishop's Park.
He just caught my attention. I don't know why. And then as he got closer, I could see he was sweating on his face as if he'd been running. You get these impressions, you know what I mean? I mean, I wouldn't even throw my orange peel on the floor because he gave me that impression that he was a policeman. And I thought if I throw that on the floor, he's going to tell me, right, pick that up, you know. All his collar was all wet, like he'd been sweating. He was about 5'9", 5'10". He had a slightly foreign-looking nose. He had a mark on his nose bridge, as if he wore glasses. I was left at the bus stop with this man, the woman with the 2 children, and somebody, I think it was another girl, who was just walking up towards the bus stop when it actually got there, 2:20. And he never got on the 74. 2:20 came. I let the young lady with the 2 children get on it because she was like at the end of her tether because the kids were being really bad. As I let them on, I looked at him. There was no response from him. I got on the bus and we left him at the 2:20 bus stop.
Okay, here's an article dated Saturday, May the 29th, 1999 from the Mirror. Jill, man arrested. I did not kill her. 3 suspect tells the Mirror. The man arrested over the Jill Dando murder told the Mirror last night, I did not kill her. Funeral director James Shackleton was held for questioning on Thursday morning and released without charge last night. Police confirm he was not a key suspect. Shackleton, 43, told police he was in the area of the murder at the time. They were tipped off that he might have been a man sweating heavily at the bus stop, but he said, I am not the killer. I want it known that I have nothing to do with it. Shackleton said he was stopped by 2 detectives outside his West London flat and taken to Kensington police station. He added, I thought by the way they were treating me I was the main suspect. I could have been just streets away from her house. I may well have walked down her road. I might have even been sweating because I was running away from a man I thought wanted to have sex with me. Continuing the same article, I look like the EFIT, but I did not kill Jill. Arrested suspect denies murder. The man arrested in a Dando murder inquiry last night said that Powers told him he looked like the police e-fit of the prime suspect. Shackleton, who specialises in low-cost funerals for the poor, described his activities on the day almost 5 weeks ago the TV presenter was shot on her doorstep. He said, "I could have been just streets away from her house. I may have even walked quickly down her road. I might have even been sweating because I was running away from a man who wanted to have sex with me." Shackleton, who lives alone in West London, was arrested on Thursday and held overnight for questioning. He told the Mirror, "I have never met Jill Dando. I have only seen her on television and I definitely did not stalk her or anything like that." He accepted he was in the area at the time collecting wood to use for coffins, and he said he might have been sweating because I was running away from a man who wanted to have sex with me. "I must have a guilty face." Fantasy, Shackleton dressed as an Earl, has been ruled out of the Jill Dando inquiry. James Shackleton, the self-styled Earl of Kensington, had been on a murder charge before and quizzed over the Wimbledon Common stabbing of Rachel Nickell and a series of gay killings. Last night said, "I suppose I must have a guilty face. I had nothing to do with them, any of them, especially Jill Dando's. I suppose once you've been accused of murder, the police look you up just to rule you out." He says he was near the Fulham murder scene, West London, collecting wood to make coffins the day Jill Dando was shot dead on her doorsteps 5 weeks ago. Police were tipped off that he could have been the man sweating at the bus stop. "I was really sweaty and dressed in a suit," he said. "I was the police's #1 suspect. Now they have ruled me out. They have nothing." Shackleton has also called himself the Duke of Salisbury and Lord James Shackleton. In fact, he runs a local funeral undertaking business founded in 1703.
Pretty clear from that reconstruction that the guy walking and running down Fulham Palace Road was one person. I mean, all the witness statements seem to converge on that one description, and yet that description is different from the gunman. So the e-fit that you've issued, the man at the bus stop in Fulham Palace Road, may very well not be the killer.
That is possible, and certainly the man in the Fulham Palace Road was not wearing a coat, whereas the man in Gowan Avenue was. So there's a strong indication that they are two different people. The e-fit is of the man at the bus stop. People need to focus on that for who is that man. Is he the lookout? Was he another party to the killing? But our key concern is the man in Gowan Avenue.
But can we just stay with that man at the bus stop first?
Yes.
It is possible he was running down Fulham. People run down roads every now and then for entirely innocent reasons without having shot someone. It is possible he is watching and recognises himself.
Yes.
If he comes forward, he's going to have a hell of a time, isn't he?
Not at all, but if he comes forward and he has nothing to do with that incident, then we can speak to him and eliminate him. He might have been late for an appointment, late for a bus, or whatever. As long as he comes forward and we can push the inquiry on.
Again, can you guarantee him anonymity?
Yes.
Yeah, so James Shackleton was eliminated. The e-fit guy was eliminated a month after Jill Dando's murder in 1999. And there are people that are still using the e-fit up until this day. 20 years later, people are still using the e-fit of James Shackleton. Okay, so the Duke, James Shackleton, His Grace, likes to get about. Here's an article from the Sunday Mirror dated February the 12th, 1989. "These evil killers are my friends. A bogus duke has caused a major security scare by penetrating Britain's jails to visit notorious killers. Moore's murderer Ian Brady and mass killer Dennis Nelson are said to be among dozens of convicts visited by the 32-year-old out-of-work undertaker. Plain James Shackleton styled himself the Grace and Duke of Salisbury, Lord James Shackleton, to pull off amazing security breaches. The authorities finally caught up with him last week when a prisoner at Wormwood Scrubs informed on him when he was about to call on mass killer Jeremy Bamber. I was a real Burleton Bertie, dressed expensively, using a posh accent, and never got questioned by security officers. After a while, I became known, and prison officers would say, 'Good morning, Your Grace. Who are you here to see today?' he added. I even went back to Brixton, where I was on remand for murder myself for 330 days and wasn't spotted.
Next is a window cleaner, and he was opposite Jill's house.
And he saw a man, again, wandering around outside number 29. The window cleaner thought he was an estate agent. He was carrying a mobile phone and was talking into the mobile phone. He described him as having blonde hair, but smart in appearance, wearing a suit. Almost all the witnesses talk of a man in a suit with dark hair or black hair. So this man, the window cleaner, sees someone with blonde hair. Now, he may be someone completely innocent, or is he the person that we're looking for?
Okay, here's another article from the Press and the Journal on Saturday, September the 25th, 1999. Police rule out Dando mystery man. The mysterious blonde man seen near Jill Dando's home less than an hour before her murder has been traced and ruled out of the inquiry, Scotland Yard said yesterday. The man, a gas meter reader, was tracked down nearly 5 months after the 26th of April murder, with details emerging on the eve of Dando's planned wedding, a spokesman said. The inquiry team are trying to discover if the television presenter was killed by a hit squad or a loner. They said it is imperative to trace other men seen in the area in the minutes before the murder to find out how many people were involved. The gas meter reader, who has not been named, confirmed to police he had been on Gowan Avenue on the morning of the murder. He had felt he had no information to add and decided not to come forward. The revelation is not breakthrough, but cleared up the mystery of the man whose description did not match others seen in the area before the killing. He had been seen by a window cleaner who was working opposite Dando's home between 10:40 and 10:45 on April the 26th, 45 minutes before she had been murdered on her doorstep.
The road, and I noticed a Range Rover facing the Fulham Palace Road. I started to type the registration number in, and suddenly I noticed this man that was sitting in the driver's seat. And I was quite sort of startled and a bit embarrassed, so I just walked off towards Munster Road.
And at the same time, a driver saw another man, and he was near the other end of Gowan Avenue.
I was coming out of Bishop's Road and wanted to turn right and immediate left to cross Munster Road into Gowan Avenue, and he was outside the glazier's shop, and as I went, he crossed. He kept looking up and down the road. I thought maybe he was looking for the road name. He was looking up.
If you were in Gowan Avenue on that day, now is the time to come forward and tell us.
Getting towards the end of Gowan Avenue on the Fulham Palace Road end, I was conscious that somebody was sitting on my tail, as it were, you know, was hurrying me. I had got the impression there was more than one person. There was a couple of people in the car. I was feeling very pressured by the car behind. I could hear it revving.
And if that was you, and you were in a hurry in your Range Rover, we do want to hear from you to eliminate you from the inquiry.
I went straight up Dunrailey Road, dead opposite Gowan, and turned right at the end to come out by Fulham Football Club, and I felt sort of pressured into going faster than I wanted to. I sort of looked over my shoulder and saw the Range Rover parking sort of opposite Fulham Football Club.
It is important to eliminate this vehicle. There were several sightings of a blue Range Rover, dark blue Range Rover. Were you parked up in the Fulham Football Club or driving around that area on the 26th of April? We would like to know, we need to know if you were there.
Another sighting of yet another dark blue Range Rover is around about 11 o'clock. A man is driving again in Gowan Avenue, but going the other way. He had noticed a man in Gowan Avenue standing between two parked cars, just standing there. As he approaches Gowan Avenue, Munster Road, and he turns left, parked right on the corner there, but also on the curb, is a dark blue Range Rover. There's nobody in it.
Okay, here's the sightings of the Range Rover. The white arrow represents where Jill Dando was shot at 11:30. At 10:08, a Range Rover was seen parked up. This Range Rover was also seen driving up Gowan Avenue. At 11 o'clock, a Range Rover was seen parked on the corner of Gowan Avenue and Munster Road. And at 11:52, a Range Rover was seen on Putney Bridge. Okay, this article came out a week after the Crime Watch reconstruction. A stalker or figure from the TV presenter Jill Dando's private life was most likely to have been behind a murder, a senior Scotland Yard source said yesterday. Given there was no major breakthrough from last week's Crime Watch programme, the investigation was likely to be a long haul over months rather than weeks, but police remain confident that the crime would be solved. A number of people called in after the show saying they had been driving a Range Rover near the murder scene in Fulham, southwest London on April the 26th. Okay, so here's another article dated Thursday the 14th of October 1999. Dando death, man arrested. Detectives hunting the killer of Crime Watch presenter Jill Dando today arrested a man but released him without charge less than 4 hours later. The man, the first person to be arrested for more than 4 months, was released from a central London police station at about 12:30, Scotland Yard said. Police sources said that the arrest was in connection with an alleged theft of a Range Rover. Sources indicate that there was no evidence that the man was the same person seen by a traffic warden in the car park near Miss Dando's home in Fulham, southwest London, on the day of her killing. A Range Rover was also captured on CCTV pictures speeding away from the scene of the murder on April the 26th this year. Okay, they're referring to the Range Rover that was seen on Putney Bridge 20 minutes after the shooting. So it wasn't necessarily the scene. I guess it was the area, but it wasn't the scene. But as far as the Range Rover goes, I've only found one other piece of information. It's an article dated March 2019 from the Daily Mail. Equally unhelpful was the early release of a CCTV still of a suspicious blue Range Rover seen crossing Putney Bridge less than a mile from the crime scene. The car had been seen jumping a red light near Gowan Avenue minutes after the murder. Another deluge of calls had to be filled and followed up. It was not until July that the car in question was identified as belonging to an antiques dealer returning to his showroom. So I don't know how official that is. So if anyone has actually listened through all of this and is interested in the case, do they have any information about the Range Rover? Because I can't officially eliminate it. I believe it was a red herring, just like everything else that I've shown in this video, but I have nothing to officially say it was. So if you do have any information on the Range Rover, please put it in the comment section. Thank you.